You're watching Basement Politics with my dad, Freddie Vasquez.
Good evening, folks. It's Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Tonight, Ron Matten versus the Breen team.
Freddie wins. Fatality.
You're watching Basement Politics with my dad, Freddie Vasquez.
Good evening, folks. I'm Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. What you see there is Silva, Curtis Silva. I don't know if I'm saying his last name right, but he is the founding member, probably the only member still left of the Guardian Angels, the vigilante group that protected citizens in New York City from the dangers and crime that was all ever so present in New York City during the 80s. Well, he is a Republican. He is now a radio talk show host, and he has been speaking about Yonkers for quite some time now. He has mentioned Mike Spano in regards to the term limits and the fact that they were extended for a second time, allowing Mike Spano to run for a fourth term. He vowed to support the Republican that was challenging the incumbent Democrat Mike Spano, and that would be Republican Anthony Moranti. So tonight at the Westchester Manor, Mr. Curtis Silva, came and spoke in support, and he vowed to help take out the Democrat Mike Spano, who he says has been in there for way too long. Folks, I'm Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Did you guys see me or hear me? What do you think about that? What do you think about the Guardian Angel coming to help Moranti or support Moranti's campaign? Do you think that's going to give him any momentum? Is it going to help Moranti? Because I have a feeling that it's going to be Mike Spano. I don't know why. Call me crazy. Sliwa. Thank you. Sliwa. Anyway, folks, I just wanted to mention that because he was in town over at the Westchester Manor on Sawmill River Road, hosting this event for Moranti and supporting him. So I don't know. Maybe that'll help. Maybe it won't. Who knows? But speaking of Republicans, what's going on with Ron Matten and the Breen family? It's not even just Mike Breen. It's the entire Breen family. They're going back and forth. The Breens are pretty upset. Ron Matten's wife has now also been a target of people like Brian Harrod and fake accounts. Also, I hear that Patty Breen, the wife of Mike Breen, has reached out or tried to reach out to Ron Matten's wife also. This is nuts. This is politics in Yonkers. Let's take a look what's going on. Unbelievable. This is some back and forth comments. And guess who joined the party? Janai Wallace. Janai. She is a member of the planning board, a huge supporter of John Rubio. I'm just kidding. John Rubo. It's Rubo, guys, not Rubio. And she is also, I guess, a fan of Mike Breen and the Republicans. She says, you better start calling out your Republican brethren for the same behavior across the country. And she brings up Donald Trump. This has nothing to do with Donald Trump. He won't let facts get in the way of a good, desperate keyboard warrior lie. That is Megan Breen, the daughter of Councilman Mike Breen, representative of the 5th District. Megan Breen is actually a Yonkers police officer, a sergeant, recently promoted. And that is the beef with Ron Matten and Mike Breen. Ron Matten has been calling out Breen in regards to his flip-flop on the term extension. If you don't know or don't remember, Mike Breen went on to the Yonkers Voice and said that term limits were necessary. They were a good thing, and he was in support of term limits. That's right. Mike Breen said he was in support of term limits. However, when it came to vote after Lakeisha Collins Bellamy, the city council president, introduced the term limit extension legislation, he voted yes. And he completely contradicted himself by stating that he was helping to give people the right to vote for Mike Spano again, which is something the people deserve. They deserve to have the right to decide if they want to vote for Mike Spano again. And by not extending the term, he was denying the people of that right to vote for Mike Spano. And that was his position the day he voted yes. So Ron Matten's been all over it. He's been creating videos and posts. Have you guys seen them? The pictures that he's been posting up. He's done a video edit where it shows Mike Breen on the Yonkers Voice saying how term limits were necessary and he was in support of term limits. Then it cuts to the vote at city council chambers where he's saying the complete opposite, completely contradicting himself. So what do you think? Is Ron Matten wrong for that? Should Ron Matten and other constituents not call out elected officials when they flip-flop, when they contradict themselves? Is that wrong? Remember, I did it with Tasha Diaz when she flip-flopped on the housing ordinance. We must call them out. It's not personal. It's not an attack on Mike Breen. It's not an attack on his family, but it's becoming personal. And now his family members have joined in, his kids, his wife, calling Ron Matten a weirdo. Have you guys seen the Ron Matten retire Breen machine? He's not playing. Ron Matten's going all out. Let me show you the machine there. You can see it at the bottom here. Danny Breen responds to Ron's post and says, how about you stop being a weirdo and driving by our family home on holidays like Easter? Find Christ. I believe Danny's also a Yonkers police officer. What do you make of this? Does this have a place in politics here in the city of Yonkers or in politics anywhere? Is Ron Matten wrong? Does he deserve the comments that he's receiving from the Breen family, the kids, Janai Wallace? Or is Ron Matten right in questioning and in pointing out the contradiction regarding term limits and Mike Breen? And this is what I've been doing on Basement Politics. I've been speaking about politics, giving the information, making people aware of important issues, making people aware when our elected officials contradict themselves, making people aware whether or not our elected officials are representing the constituents or their self-interest or the interest of their benefactors. Is that wrong? Do we deserve to have our families attacked? Do we deserve to have people gang up on us, make posts about our family, our wives, our kids, and attack our business? Is it all just part of politics? Does it come with the territory? Or should we demand more integrity within our politics? Should we demand more maturity within our politics? And if an elected official or an elected official is criticized, that comes with the territory. And they are to respond accordingly, which is in a mature manner. If you feel that the individual is mistaken, you correct them in a mature manner. You articulate why that individual is wrong. But instead, what we see is attacks, personal attacks on family members, personal attacks using Yonkers Newswire and the Yonkers Voice. But we never see our elected officials articulating why Freddie Vasquez or Ron Matten or anyone else who points out what many can say is the obvious, they never articulate why we are wrong, why we are mistaken. What they will do is utilize their minions, friends, families, to attack you, to speak behind your back, spread rumors, insinuate that you are crazy, that you have some kind of grudge or an axe to grind. Has nothing to do with the fact that our elected officials are contradicting themselves, are representing the interests of developers and not the interests of the people. Ron Matten responds to Danny Breen. Jesus drove the money changers and merchants from the temple. I'm just calling out those who defile Yonkers with their shady backroom deals. Danny Breen responds, what shady deals? Get a grip and stop stalking my family. But we who follow Yonkers politics, who understand how things work, know that backroom deals are not a conspiracy. We know that backroom deals here in the city of Yonkers and many other places are very real things. Many wonder why Mike Breen initially said he was in favor of term limits. What was it that Mike Breen wanted? And did he make a backroom deal so that when it came time to vote on the term extension, he would contradict himself willingly and purposely and without hesitation? What did he get for that? What was his benefit? Was he promised a job, as some people say, if he were to either lose this election or when he was ready to get out of politics? Some say if he loses, he wins. He gets a job, gets paid even more. So was there a backroom deal? And is Ron Matten wrong for implying that there may have been a backroom deal? Breen the flip-flopper, and there you go. You can check out the edited video. I'm assuming that's what you're posting there, Joseph. Breen's just like Spano, cannot stomach any real opposition or criticism. This is the first time they both have real opponents. And Ron Chute, is that how you say his name? Is opposing Ron Matten. I think this is what, the first primary that Ron Matten probably has? First primary Republicans are having? Ain't that something? Megan isn't stupid. No, she's not. And I want to make sure that we are not calling her any names here on Basement Politics. I just really don't want to be disrespectful to anybody. Even if she's apolitical, she's smart enough to recognize a sellout when she sees one. Being the mayor's friend is fine, but being a puppet is not. You know, I wonder this sometimes to myself. Like, I think about this. I'm like, you know, they got to know some of these things is wrong. And I'm not speaking about Megan Breen in particular or the Breen family or anyone, just in general. They got to know they're wrong. I mean, they know that this is wrong, that this is not okay. And they're just going to continue to do it. They're going to continue to talk about it as if they're doing nothing wrong, as if whatever corruption is not happening, as if, you know, they're not doing what we're saying they're doing, right? And I just like think to myself, it's just okay. They don't care. They don't care if people's family gets attacked. They don't care what happens to you. You lose your job, your business, your reputation. They don't care. They don't care that you have kids who have friends who will see these lies that are being posted. They don't care. They don't care if you have family, kids to take care of. They will get you fired. Take your pension. They don't care. And I was watching something about just the sense of entitlement certain people have, and, you know, especially with people that are wealthy and, you know, people who've been in politics for a long time, or even with royals, right? They just, you know, are born into this environment, into this culture, into this way of living, this life, right? That almost like it's wrong, but they don't know any better. It's, you know, that's just the way it is. You know, they have this sense of entitlement because it's been going like that for so long. The guy before me did it. The guy before him or the woman before them did it. So I'm going to do it. Not once do they stop and think, or maybe they do and they just don't care. Is this right? Is this okay? And whether or not the person before me did it, should I do it? Should I conduct myself in this manner? I don't get it. This is very unreal. Ron Shutez, the real Republican, is running against Breen, the sellout. Breen, the sellout. And that's a term that many of our elected officials are given. Sellouts. Right? They sell out. They sell out their party. They may sell out their people, their community, their constituents. Everyone but themselves. That's John Larkin. He is endorsing Mike Breen. And so people are questioning this endorsement because John Larkin was vocal about term limits. He was in support of term limits. And I believe John Larkin was supposed to come up with the referendum. This was supposed to happen way before Lakeisha Collins Bellamy introduced the legislation, but it never happened. And so when things like this take place, you wonder, are there backroom deals being made? Did John Larkin decide not to continue to make a stink about the term limits or come up with the referendum early on because there was some kind of backroom deal? I don't know. I'm just saying, it makes you think, it makes you wonder, right? It's kind of like, and no disrespect, Reverend Coleman, with Margaret Coleman. And the fact that, you know, there was supposed to be some deal that was made where one of the two women was supposed to take a step back and support the other, but that didn't happen. And so were there backroom deals made? I don't see very many signs of, I don't see Corazon signs. I did see a Margaret Coleman sign. I have seen them on Lockwood. I did see a woman holding a sign the other day on North Broadway next to the raccoon that was rabid. But I don't see many signs. I mean, Mike Spano has pretty much dominated the entire city with his signs. Granted, he has a lot more money, but I don't see the signs. Where are the signs? What good is a referendum if the city council just overturns it when they want? Absolutely, that's true. Good point. I hate to think that Larkin was pressured to do this. Both of Larkin's kids were hired by Spano very recently. And so when things like that happen, it makes people question. Now, whether or not that was the deal, if that's what happened, I don't know. But it happens so often that you start to see this pattern and say, well, this has got to be what's happening. People have to be getting jobs for some favor or some deal that was made. Look at Michael Sabatino. He was the guy that extended the term limits for the third term, right? He got a nice job. Mike Breen is expected to do the same. And it's usually the same individuals that get rotated in one position to the other, to the next. There's no one ever new that's coming in. So how is this system, this culture ever going to change? How are things ever going to be different if you don't have anyone new getting voted in, bringing fresh ideas, fresh perspectives, an outside point of view? It's the same individuals that have been involved in politics in some form or fashion going back to the 80s. The same individuals. So how's anything going to change? How's the culture? How's the way of doing business going to ever change if it's the same people, just in different positions? Simmer Brandon's still around. She was cutting the ribbon for the bridge that was renamed in honor of some guy. I'm sorry if I don't know. It was black guy, African American. So Simmer Brandon was there cutting the ribbon with the giant ceremonial scissors. This woman goes back so far back, she was even in the paper and was quoted as saying, calling Nicholas Wasisco her mentor, the mayor who was murdered. I know he was murdered. He was murdered. And that's an unsolved murder. But the point is that Simmer Brandon was in the article saying that he was her mentor. I mean, it's unbelievable. She's still around. I'm not saying anything negative about you, Simmer. So simmer down, relax. I'm simply stating the fact that it's the same group of individuals. Some 80s to the 90s to the early 2000s till now, the same individuals. When Larkin was a councilman, I believe. Oh, okay. All the Breen's kids except one were hired by Spanos. Yeah. And so they're going to defend their dad, of course. Naturally, that's their father. I get it. I understand it. But is Ron wrong? Is Ron wrong? Are the comments, the criticism by Ron Matten wrong? Should he be, attacked? Should he be ganged up on because of it? He's been called the Weasel. Ron the Weasel. He's been attacked just like I have on the Yonkers Voice, on the Yonkers Newswire by Brian Harrod. I mean, you see the pattern. They attack everyone. I wasn't the first. I'm not the last. This is Margaret Coleman, Yonkers One Community. We have the right to demand something different. Well, there we go. It's the same individuals, right? Now let's demand something different. Let's gain our something different with new leadership that will fight for education, housing that is affordable and sustainable, infrastructure, and public safety. Vote for Margaret Fountain Coleman for mayor. You see, if I was on this ballot, right? If I was on this ballot, if I was running against the mayor and all of them, right? First of all, I wouldn't even be thinking about Cora Song. I wouldn't be thinking about Margaret Coleman. I'm not trying to beat them. I'm trying to beat Mike Spano, right? I would be saying a whole lot more. I would be a lot more vocal. I would be touching on things that are important. We get it. We understand. We need to fight for education. What do you mean by that? Margaret Coleman, Reverend Margaret Coleman is an educator. She's in the schools. What do you specifically mean by that? You can articulate, you speak well. She can articulate what the problems are in terms of education better than most. So what do you mean by that? Housing that is affordable and sustainable. What do you mean by that? We need more affordable housing, 1,000%. But why is it that we do not have more? Well, a start is the affordable housing. The ordinance has remained the same. Why was it not increased? So what's the problem? What's the issue? Right? And our infrastructure, same thing. What is the problem? What is the issue? And what is the solution? What are the steps that you're going to take to resolve this infrastructure problem that I'm assuming we have? Well, I'm just saying, based on this post. And public safety. Do you believe that our city has become more dangerous? Crime has increased? And if so, why is it? And how do we address it? So this is what I mean. This is somewhat of a generic post. And again, I'm not criticizing, if you want to call it a criticism, but it's not being negative. I'm not being negative. I'm not attacking. It's just, I'm telling you what I see. I would speak about, listen, we need to improve the quality of our education. Biggest problem is a lack of funding. And how do we get more funding? Well, we need to start finding ways to cut back on other expenses. I'm sure that there are unnecessary expenses that we are incurring that can be cut, that can save us millions a year. And so I intend on doing just that. That I hope will add another, let's say $3-4 million, but that's just the start. That's what we need to speak about. The goals of the future mayor. I'm going to implement these programs, and don't just say music, sports, and arts. Every high school is going to have a football team with dedicated coaches, cheerleaders. We're going to have schools opened up for tutoring for those who need it. When regions come up, we're going to have the schools opened up for regions. Practice. We're going to have more trades in all the high schools. And we're going to start with jobs here in the community, specifically DPW jobs, firemen, police officers, working in city hall, city government. Let's get new, fresh faces. Let's foster and nurture this. We have to make an active effort. Who's going to do that? Which one of the three, if elected, or I should say, which one of the four, if elected, will do this? We'll make an active effort. We'll have a real, sensible, reasonable plan showing logistics. But we don't see that. Ron is simply stating facts. Right. People don't like facts. The same way you speak facts, they attack you both the same way for the same reason, right? And even if they were not facts, right? Let's say Ron or I were wrong. Why can they not articulate themselves? Why can they not articulate that? Say, no, Freddie Vasquez is wrong. I did not contradict myself. Or I contradict myself, but my intentions were not to contradict myself. At the time, I felt strongly about term limits. However, after discussing it with my colleagues, they helped me see that maybe giving the voters the opportunity to vote for Mike Spano was a good thing. If you said it like that, even if you were lying shit, it'll be a whole lot better. People would probably be like, oh man, that makes sense. Let me be your chief of staff. Steve Traverse too busy with fake pages to think. Just kidding, Steve. Don't create a fake page and start attacking me now. Right? The candidates, Democratic candidates, vie for votes in primary election for mayor of Yonkers. Voters in New York's third largest city will be selecting who will be on the Democratic ticket to run for Yonkers mayor. There are three candidates, as we know. Mike Spano has been steering the ship of Yonkers since his first term began in 2012. My hope is, like I said, the people of Yonkers will want to continue this success we've brought on board and will continue to do so, he says. Spano is seeking a fourth term, which was made possible after Lakeisha Collins Bellamy introduced the term limit extension or legislation, and the Yonkers City Council extended the term limit for a second time, following a heated and divided debate. City Councilwoman Corazon Pineda-Isaac voted against that term extension and said it's time for change in leadership. What does that mean? It's time for change. Why? Why is it we need change? I mean, according to the mayor and other people, we have been seeing progress. Have we not? Why do we need change? And I'm just asking, I'm not saying I disagree. I'm asking her to be more clear. To extend term limits was very problematic, she says. My goal is to allow people to be represented, but also be a unifier. Well, one of the things, criticism they make about Corazon is that she doesn't focus on everyone, just mostly Dominicans or Hispanics, which I don't think that's true. But that's what people have said. Pineda-Isaac has been on the city council since 2014, which is another negative for her, for some people, because they say you've been there so long. Why have you not said more or done more? Why have you not pointed out these issues and been consistent? in your criticism. Now you're running for mayor. Now you make these criticisms. Now you bring this up. And that's a fair point. Fair point. She says if elected as mayor, she'll continue focusing on improving education outcomes. Here we go. The education buzzwords. That's what they are. Buzzwords. Reducing crime and creating more affordable housing. How so? You know, Corazon was not for 20% from the beginning. She wasn't one of the 20%ers. Tasha Diaz was, and then she flip-flopped. What saddened me is that they have not made this a priority. They have not worked to produce another housing ordinance. They have not. And so none of them can say they're for affordable housing because that is not a priority. Margaret Fallon Coleman is also looking to become the City of Hill's first woman and person of color to lead. So is Corazon. They're looking to become the first women, as if that matters. Doesn't matter if you're the first woman. Doesn't matter if you're black, white, Hispanic. What matters is if you get the job done and you represent the people. I don't care what color you are. Special education is near and dear to my heart. This is Margaret Coleman. Fallon Coleman is a longtime Yonkers educator who says she is focused on adding more affordable housing, improving infrastructure, public safety, and schools. I mean, it's the same thing. Special education is near and dear to my heart, making sure that children and their families are able to access education the way they need to access and having the resources available for all children, she says. Spano says if he was reelected, he would continue to focus on development, adding affordable housing, improving public safety, and schools. They all said exactly the same thing, the same buzzwords, but none elaborated. None explain what are the issues with these buzzwords. What is the issue with education? And how do you plan on addressing it? What is the issue with the affordable housing? And how do you plan on addressing it? They talk about affordable housing. Where is the affordable housing ordinance? How can you be for affordable housing? What is the problem with education? And so I just want to point that out, folks. These are the questions you should be asking. Demand more. Demand more. And when you do question your elected officials, you should not be attacked by that elected official, by their staff, by their friends, or their family members. They are an elected official. You signed up for the job. You are a public official. That means you will be open to public ridicule. And if constituents question or criticize, do not respond with immature, irrational, or emotional comments. Articulate or ignore. Ignore. But many of us have points. We have valid points that have been made, and at times they have been ignored by elected officials, and at times they have been addressed. Remember the city council president who addressed me in the city council meeting when Tasha Diaz went off the rails? When she was talking about the black puppet? I didn't call her a black puppet, and I'll continue to say that. I was saying that that's what people look at her. That's what they're looking at her like, the people that will use her. She also mentioned the fact that she was not going to become a city court judge at the beginning of this year, contrary to what was being said, which was what I mentioned from sources, that her husband was not going to be a police officer with the Yonkers Police Department because he already had a good job. He didn't have a trivial job like, let's say, someone who works at the supermarket. And by the way, to the dude that works at ShopRite who likes to get on me, why don't you get on her? She called your job trivial. I'm just saying. I don't know how many people think I'm just very different. Maybe I'm just weird. Maybe I just don't have time for the BS. Instead of going at me and going off and setting the tone to where then Tasha Diaz took it and ran with it, scoring the game-winning touchdown, getting Hector Santiago knocked out, or maybe he got himself knocked out. Depends who you ask. You should have just been professional. Ignored it. Spoke about what was relevant that day. And it was not Freddie Vasquez. But what that shows me and other people is that we are obviously touching a nerve, and what we are saying must have truth to it. There's two things that people do when it comes to the truth. They either accept the truth or they get angry at the truth. That's how you know it's the truth. I'm Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. What do you folks think about the Breen team, about what Ron Matten saying and how he's being ganged up on? Clean out the Spano Goon patronage mill and you'll free up a good $3 million out there too. Yeah. By the way, speaking of the Spano Goon, I saw that guy Adam. What's his last name? I don't think it's Levine. It's something else. Anyway, I got it. But I said hello to him. You know, I don't hold any grudges. I move on. And you know, I was gonna say something else. I got up early this morning. I went to work out because I'm getting prepared, right? I'm hoping that we can do this charity event with Alberto, because I think he's very mad. The CSCA president, who, you know, challenged me to a fight as the mayor was speaking the other day at the Castle Royale. He was mad that day. I've never seen him mad before, but I guess he was mad that day. And so I went to work out. I'm going to go this again tomorrow morning. I'm getting up early. I'm going to go hit the gym. I'm going to be doing shoulders. So I'm going to be preparing, Alberto. All right. I'm ready for you, man. So, you know, if you back out, it's on you. Remember, I'm the skinny guy, the guy that's going to get his nose fixed and all that for free. You know, let's do it for charity. Okay, let's do it. I hope that we can set it up for the Yonkers YFD versus YPD boxing match that they hold at the PAL. Let's be the main event, Alberto. Right? Me and you. I'm gonna get ready. I got my trainers. I got my boxing trainer, my boxing coach. I do boxing coach, and I got now my new workout coach. He's gonna be working out with some shoulders tomorrow. So I'm gonna be getting ready, Alberto. I hope you're going to be ready, all right? You know, I know you and Rue Rose are going to be going to Puerto Rico. So, listen, Rue, by the way, I don't really care about you, really, honestly, no more. I'm done with you, so I just want to put that out there. You know, I already said what I had to say. The facts are the facts. I put the information out there, you know. And another fact is, Rue, I'm telling you the truth, you know. Alberto was the one that gave me the police reports on you and Brian Harrod that I have. You know, so that's how these individuals are, folks. And the reason why I'm outing Alberto is because he's a, you know, he's a sneaky snake, right? His only interest is his self, right? So he actually charged me for those reports, Rue. That's why I got him. You think I'm lying? You want me to prove it to you? I can prove it to you. I can definitely prove it to you anytime, any place. Let me know. I'll show you how your homeboy, your cigar friend, sold you out. And then he was trying to sell me the information on on John Nasser and the whole thing that happened there with the FBI and everything in that arrest. So there you go. You want me to prove it to you guys? Anybody wants me to show you the fact, I can show you that it was Alberto Velasquez. Let me know. So just letting you know who did that. You know, term limits are not about limiting an executive's time in office. They're about limiting his power. Removing them creates political monopolies, and monopolies destroy the quality of a product or service while increasing the price dramatically. They are illegal in the business world, and they should be illegal in politics. Yeah, well, you know, they technically are illegal in the business world, but you know, they still pretty much exist. Yeah, that's right. You know, I agree, you know, and again, it's just for anybody and any person. It's not personal, not against Mike Spanos, not against whoever. term limits are a necessity. You know, we need to have term limits in order for our democracy to operate the way our forefathers intended it to operate. And so when we go around allowing those who benefit from, you know, the changes that they are making to make those changes, right, then we're going to, you know, get what we get, right? So they're going to just always make the laws to change them in their benefit, right? So that's why it wasn't okay for the city council to introduce that legislation and vote on it, right? Granted, there is no direct benefit, right? So according to the city charter, according to what's that called? Municipal home rule, elected officials cannot vote on something that will give them a direct benefit. So, for example, if Mike Spano were to win the election simply by extending the term, and then they voted to extend the term, and then he wins, that would be a direct benefit. But because he still has to run, right? They extended the terms, but that doesn't mean that Mike Spano is benefiting. I guess you can say maybe Mike Sussman. I'm not an attorney. You're the attorney. You're the big time guy. Although I was speaking to a judge just yesterday, was it? You know, I had a lunch with the judge, Supreme Court judge. You know what I mean? And he was telling me the way I think is very much like an attorney. So you know, he gave me some props there. But Sussman, maybe if you say, okay, the benefit is that he gets to be in the election. That's a benefit. Right. So, for example, not everyone can be in the election. Right. You have to get a certain amount of signatures. Right. So if you don't get those signatures, or your signatures are not good, right, or you don't have the money or whatever, you are not going to be in the race. So his benefit, I'm just saying, if you want to try to play with the words, because I know you guys want to do this, and I'm talking about the term limit extension lawsuit that was filed by the motley crew there, that whole mixture of individuals that was very strange. No disrespect to you guys. Some of you I really like, you know, no disrespect. But, you know, the argument is that there's a direct benefit, you know, in doing this, but I didn't think there was. But maybe if you say the direct benefit is that he gets to be in the election, had they not extended the term limits, then the mayor would not be in the election, right? He would not be able to run. So his benefit is the ability to run, not winning the election, not being the mayor, but having the ability to run, whereas, you know, other people, you know, that's not just open for anybody, right? You have to, you know, right? You have to have a certain amount of money. And so you have to have a certain amount of support, connections, you know. So because the mayor had been in office for 12 years now, he has gained X amount of money from funding. He has gained X amount of support, build X amount of relationships, something that's unique to someone that would be in office for that long. So it's not a common thing, right? So his direct benefit is being allowed to run again, giving his, his resources that he's developed and that he's attained over the course of 12 years while being the mayor, right? So I'm just saying, I don't know, maybe that might not work. I don't know, Mike Sussman, but I'm just saying, and to the people who watch and who may be a part of it, I don't know if he's already thought that. Maybe he has. I'm sure he's a very smart man. But if he hasn't, maybe you could approach it that way. The benefit is that he's in the race. That's a benefit, right? But other than that, I don't see it. That's why I wasn't really that super confident about it. But I don't understand, though, is that they do get to vote on raises. Isn't that a direct benefit? They vote on raises, which many did over the pandemic. You know, the state and county and even local elected officials voted on raises. So that's a direct benefit. I don't see how that's okay, right? But anyway, folks, I'm Freddie Vasquez. I'm up out of here. Good luck to you. Alberto, I'm working out. I'm going to be prepared. So if you back out, then you the punk that I always knew you were, okay? I know you're not going to give up the president, even though your CSCA members, for the most part, want you to. And the deal was, if I win, you have to step down as president. If you win, I shut down basement politics. And then whatever money we could raise, we'll give it to the school district, okay? That's a deal, Alberto, because I'm working out, all right? Let me know. I'm ready. Well, I'm going to be ready. And shout out to my trainers. Shout out to you guys. I'll be getting up early tomorrow to work out. And there you go. I'm Freddie Vasquez. Have a beautiful night. And peace out. Enjoy. Rue, you know you got to be thinking about that right now. Like, dang, guy, he sold you out. I put that on everything I love, Rue. That man sold you out. But listen, it's okay if the two of your friends. I mean, look at what you guys do. Look at what you did. Look what he does. I mean, you guys belong together, you know? You belong together because birds of a feather flock together. That's a fact, Jack. And I'll be around longer than you, brother.
Freddie wins. Fatality.
I'm Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered, the place where truth lives and corruption dies. I am for the people. You, the people. I don't represent the elected officials. They don't represent me. I represent you. You represent me. We, the people, the voters of the city of Yonkers, the people I love. And so please, share the page, share the podcast, tell a friend to tell a friend. Basement Politics. Email me the information, politicwithfred@gmail.com. And I will warn you, if you are someone who is looking to try to set me up or provide me with wrong information, I'm going to out you. If you are like an Alberto Velasquez, who is being a snake and providing information. And you know why he did that, Rue? He did that to cause problems between us, Rue. Don't you get it? He did that so I can put it out. So then you would come at me and we would keep going at each other, Rue. That's why he did it. And someone sent him to do it. Where did he get the police reports?
Freddie wins.
Guaranteed, 1,000%. So while y'all smoking cigars, ask him, who was it that gave him the police reports that wanted me to have them so I can talk about it on my podcast, so then you can get mad and then create lies about me and then talk about my wife and then have me go back and forth, right, with you. He did that, Rue. And why would he give me information on John Nasser? So I could have the Nasser and the Arabic community upset with me. Don't you get it, guys? This is what they've been doing. Who you think's been giving me the information?
Freddie wins.
The inside information.
Freddie wins.
Why were they giving me that inside information? Think about it.
Freddie wins.
They wanted to cause problems. Who was the individuals that sent me the information on Sarah Sage?
Freddie wins.
They were accusing her of having an affair. Think about that, Sarah.
Freddie wins. Fatality.
That's one of the folks in y'all circle.
Freddie wins.
The point of it is to cause problems.
Freddie wins. Fatality.
I knew that.
Freddie wins. Fatality.
Most of it was true.
Freddie wins.
But there was people that are close to you that wanted to cause problems for you and me. They wanted us to be going at it.
Freddie wins.
So there you go, Rue. Your boy sold you out. So when I see the two of you together, I'm just going to shake my head.
Freddie wins.
Sold you out about the child porn in your phone, the police report he gave him to me, and about your son. And about your son being on desk duty for stabbing a firefighter in White Plains. Do you believe that? His son, a Yonkers police.
Freddie wins.
He sold you out.
Fatality.
Peace out.